It's hard to see, but that person waving their arms around is me in 2015. It was my senior year of high school and we had just performed for a band show. We were celebrating the band receiving a plaque that we won for attending the event. It didn't say we got first place, but that didn't matter. Those who know me well know that music and performing have been a huge part of my life. I mean, I did it all. Band, choir, yes, even show choir. I continued doing band in college, and I'm a current member of the Ohio State University Marching Band. I've had so many experiences in life through my involvement in music programs. But how has the 2020 pandemic affected the day-to-day of music programs across the country? When the pandemic first started, nobody knew how it would affect music programs.
And I was thinking, a year ago in June, are we even going to have a marching band? These kids are going to be so disappointed. It's going to be such a bummer.
We had no idea what we were going to be able to do, and just so many unanswered questions and so many unknowns.
The thing that was so hard was that there was just no end in sight at that point. There was no hope. Football is taken away, then it's given back, but the band can't go to football. And, the pandemic's going to continue for the foreseeable future. And there was just no hope that anything was going to change in that time.
Procedures and guidelines were set in place to help these programs function.
And we had them come on separate days. So there was like an A
through K, L through
Z, and then Wednesday was an all virtual day.
The state regulations are pretty standard. Masks, 6 feet, things like that. Nothing that the CDC doesn't say or anything. The specific music ones we got from the district they wanted us 10 feet apart. They gave us special masks for the face and also covers for the instruments.
Each student had to basically go through a health check.
That included taking their temperature with a thermometer that was just like an infrared thermometer that we could take their temperature from far away. And then there was like a 5-symptom screening that they had to answer no to all of those. If they answered yes to any of those questions, we sent them home, called their family and said, hey, we need you to go visit your doctor or, watch these symptoms because they needed to be symptom-free for 24 hours to attend rehearsal.
While the pandemic caused its own issues, problems also arose from the guidelines.
First period, I have a class of 7th graders. There's about 65 people in that class. And so to take everybody's temperatures before school or before class starts, 65 temperatures, and then taking attendance of 65 people. And then I would have to start a Zoom for my online learners and get them set up in the Zoom. So by the time we did all of that, about half the period was over already.
You're doing a balancing act of convincing the kids that to stick around and this is not going to be permanent, but then also adapting as if this is a permanent thing, looking for the positives and trying to figure out how to make it work.
So the challenge is more just balancing how to keep everyone engaged, everyone doing something, while at the same time maximizing their current situation.
There are some times where if I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a 7th grader who's in their 2nd year of band and they've played their instrument for 6 months and now maybe 9 months. And I'm just saying to myself, man, what am I doing here? I thought I was going to get to play a whole bunch and play in this very specific way, and now it's just completely different.
One of the biggest changes came from addressing how to perform for an audience.
We defaulted to a virtual performance for our concert, and we made a slideshow and sent that out to the families instead of having anyone come to the school.
And that's what we did for the holiday concert. It was just kids and some parent volunteers, and then we live streamed it, recorded it, and sent it out.
The game day feel is probably the hardest thing of all of it to achieve, right? Because on a game day, you've got everyone in full uniform, you've got 100,000 people cheering in the stands. It's just a real exciting atmosphere that you can't duplicate in an empty stadium. Like there's no way to truly duplicate it. I was able to allow our students to participate by bringing in cameras of their own. I had a couple of cameras of my own that were owned by Ohio State that we used for the production, and I had time to edit all of those camera angles together into a show that was hopefully enjoyable for the fans who watch at home. You know, they had the ability to watch the high angle, only traditional view, which I would release a few days later, but the premiere of each show was an edited together sequence with 10 to 12 different angles. Students had GoPros on their instruments that people really enjoyed.
Even though it was tough, the importance of music programs was clear in the minds of those involved.
These students are getting an experience that is awful. Like, I would not wish a worldwide pandemic on anyone, but you can see the sunshine through all of this because, you know, these kids are problem solvers. They, despite the circumstances that they're being thrown, they are thriving and they are making music because of it. Like, I love my job because I get to see those light bulbs go off, and I'm seeing light bulbs go off despite the crummy situation that everybody's in right now.
They just want that. They crave that camaraderie, like you were saying. And it's encouraging to see that because it makes me realize like they want to be here and they're having fun.
The experience of this activity for the individual student, I believe, is so important because having been a member of the band myself, I was one of those kids that lived for it. I mean, this was everything that I wanted. Students would say, well, it was the highlight of my day. It was the only normal thing I had in my day. It was the only chance I had to see my friends in person. Otherwise, we were just stuck behind a screen the whole time. And human beings aren't designed to live like that.
I think that the students have made this a lot more heartwarming and beneficial.
A lot of them are really missing the part of band that allowed you to be close with the people next to you, like physically close, and just interacting with different people.
And especially in times like this where everyone's basically being pushed into isolation, there are a lot of these kids that find a lot of solace in bringing that community together again.
For some of these kids, this is their safe place. We don't have all the most popular kids sometimes. Sometimes we do. We don't have all the really nerdy kids. Sometimes we do. We don't have all the, whatever. There's all the different social groups that you talk about in high school. And we've got a little of all of them here, but we also have, this is where these kids feel the safest. And, I told you that I'd have them kicked out by 3:30. I have to kick kids out almost every day. But these kids come back in. This is their locker. This is where they hang in the morning. This is where they hang after school. This is where they make their plans. They're all family. And, I feel like we're family. Well, as a matter of fact, here's from a year ago, one of my flag girls who's now graduated, she made a sign there. And the bottom line is march, sweat, play, drill, work, practice, love. And the last word is family. And, and I still have that, hanging on my bulletin board because it is.
Mike Smith sent out a letter to, sent out a notice to, I can't remember if it was all of CBDNA or the Big Ten band directors saying that exact same thing, passionately saying, look, we need to have this activity for our students because it is so meaningful an experience. Can't deny you guys or us, quite frankly, this experience.
It's been a tough year, but I, as well as many others, are happy that we were able to experience music programs even though there was a pandemic. Through the increased production of the COVID-19 vaccine, we're hopeful that next season will feel more normal. Even though we know that the pandemic might not be over by next season, one thing is sure: music will still be there for all to enjoy.